Hi guys, it's Friday night, 7 o'clock, so it's time for Craft Cave Live. We've taken all your questions, everything, and this week, do you want to get a bit closer?
That's how I normally stand.
Is it?
It's just you.
Yeah, he's been threatening me all day, that's why.
He deserves it.
Right, so guys, loads of questions to answer. But somebody actually put on from one of the workshop pictures, this that I'd done and that we've actually done in one of the workshops, and loads of people asked about how to do it and everything else. So that's the idea of Craft Cave Live. You tell me what you want to see, and that's what I'll do, is whatever you want to see. So this is what we're going to do tonight, as well as what I'd got planned from some of the other questions as well. Loads of people had asked about quilting a die, loads of people had asked about embossing it, cutting a die. So what I thought we'd do as a second part, we'll actually go through lots of different things. Basically, one die, 5 ways. What else can we do with a die? So I'm going to start with this one, because this is the one that everyone seems to really want to know about. So I'm going to pop that one down. And here I've got ready cut 2 pieces of black card, and I've just cut these to a 6-inch square. That makes it really simple for this, but you can do it on any size or anything. And what I'm going to use is my bauble die. So I'm using the bauble die, and all I'm going to be using is the outline. With this, if you use either of the 2 inner lines, you can get a thinner or a wider sort of rim to go all the way around. This time, I just want the bauble. So I'm just going to pop that on a piece of card, make sure it's nice and even. And if you notice, I'm putting it more towards the bottom to give me room, if I want to put a ribbon at the top. And I'm just going to take that down, a bit of low-tech tape, and run it through my machine and cut it. Actually, will it fit through my big shot? It will. Let's stick it through there, because that's a bit quicker. Go on, Sam, turn your handle. Do 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 do.
Can you hold it?
Can I hold it? Yeah.
Would help.
There you go. Brilliant. Thank you. So let's get that one out. So when I cut this, what I get is perfect bauble and the aperture.
Charmaine, you need to close the Facebook app down and reopen it, and you'll be fine then, hopefully.
All right. Hello, Charmaine. Right, so now I'm going to pop this into my stamp press. So I'm going to put the first piece in, which is the one I'm going to stamp on, which is the 6x6 square.
You can get this die set from most retailers, I believe.
I think so. I think most of them have got, a lot of them have got it. So what I can do is, if you've cut this, normally I would cut this from a scrap of card. If I've done that, I would take the bauble, place it on the card where I want it to go. I don't know what card is
what
either.
Is card?
Just give me the strangest look. Card, lay that over,
Card.
and then set that in place. Because I've cut it to the right size, I'm just going to slip that on the top. So then I've got my aperture. Okay. Next, I'm going to take one of the Press to Impress clear Perspex sheets. I'm going to pop my stamp on. This allows me to put my stamp on where I want it. If you can see here, I'm making sure I've got the little bit, I've got my point of the mounting, which is the center point of the design, on one of the lines on the piece of acetate, the insert, so I can move it along until I'm happy that it's in the middle of my bauble aperture. If you can see there, I can see it's right in the middle, perfect, which allows me then to close the press, pick up the stamp, pull that out. I've not marked anywhere on that. Yeah, and my stamp is exactly in the right place I want it. Now, what I'm going to do is, I'm actually going to use white pigment ink, but I'm going to heat emboss.
Sam's Star is still out of stock for the time being, isn't it?
It's due in, we're hoping, in the next 10 days or so. I've not had an update. I'll try and get one. So, just going to give this a little bit of a rub over with an anti-static bag, making sure, as you can see, I get some powder out. And I'm going to ink my stamp, and I'm using the Eyes Ink white pigment. Okay. So in actual fact, we'll do something a slight bit different, shall we, on this one, I think.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do is just ink the stamp with my white pigment ink, give it a good coverage, Make sure it's nicely covered. And remember, something I came up with in the workshops this week. When you're inking a stamp, think about it, it's the cha-cha-cha. This is the Strictly Come Dancing coming back on that's got me. So you're actually doing cha-cha-cha, cha-cha-cha. You're not doing a tango, which is sort of grinding it in. So if you're wondering how to put your ink on, think cha-cha-cha, light taps everywhere. It really helped one lady. Honestly, Sam is looking at me now like I've gone completely crazy, but it did help one lady. And I'm just going to turn that over and I'm going to stamp it, but make sure that I press everywhere. Remember, when we're using a stamp press, it's like we are putting the lid on a Tupperware or a container. We're not restarting someone's heart. We're doing that. Have you got a question, Uncle Sam?
So in regards to YouTube, if you go on YouTube and search for John Lockwood, you will find a lot of videos on there.
Yeah.
Or
just search John Next Door, because it's known as that as the channel as well.
Yeah. What stamp is that?
This is the Deer Mountain stamp from the 2J's company, and this is back in stock. This came back into stock today.
Yay.
So I know that, because I checked that, because I thought people might ask me. But if you can see there, what I've got is, I've got the imprint going all the way across, but it's going into the bauble, so that when I take out my bauble template, I've got then roughly the design inside the bauble shape.
Evening, Jodie.
So next, evening, Jodie. You all right, gorgeous? So what I'm going to do next is, on the original, I used a clear or a high shine powder. What I'm going to use on this one, I'm going to actually use the transparent palette, which is the Eyes Ink clear glitter. But because I've used white pigment ink, I will get a white glittered image. Tap off the excess, and can you see it's nowhere else really that I don't want it to be, because I use the anti-static bag first. So just put the powder back. Being very good tonight, which is not like me. And then I'm just going to heat this. Gone through this so many times, guys, but always remember, heat your heat gun. Keep it away from your phone while you're filming Facebook Live. But heat your heat gun. The hotter your heat gun is when you start, the less you will warp your card. It's like putting an iron that's cool onto a shirt in one place and letting it come up to heat. You know for a fact you'll burn the fabric. It's the same with a heat gun. And don't test it for heat the way I do by blowing it on my hand, because it will hurt. And all I'm going to do is just heat set it. But can you see that by preheating my gun, I'm going round and it's turning very, very quickly. None of this silly TV wafting. Just follow the lines and make sure all the powder is melted. Going round, let's get the deers. Hello, deer.
Right.
So we'll get the deers. Right, there we go. So that's all now been heat set. Yep. And if I give it a little wiggle,
Sparkles.
you can see all of the sparkle we're getting. What I'm going to do then is put this back into my stamp press, take the stamp out and pop it nicely away back in your stamp storage, which mine's over there because I've got to get it out. And I'm going to take now the mask again, and you can easily match this back up because you can see where the design continues. Can you see how the mountain carries on and the mountain carries on there, how the lines continue, so you know you can get it back in the right place. What I'm going to do then is grab some more of my white pigment ink.
Hey, Fluff.
Who's Fluff?
Helen.
Hello, Fluff. I've never known you to call her Fluff before.
Oh, no, it's a nickname.
Ah, so we've been looking at pictures of your sister.
Yes.
I think we should share that picture of Helen when she was younger on Facebook.
No, we should not.
So just going to take a little bit of white pigment ink.
Anyway, you don't know what my nickname was.
I don't. Helen, please text me and tell me what Sam's nickname was.
I'll tell you now.
Go on.
Zilch Boy.
Zilch Boy.
Yeah.
Why Zilch Boy?
Helen, you need to WhatsApp John and let him know why I'm called Zilch Boy.
Tell me why Zilch Boy. Right. Is this because your mum made you wash your mouth out with soap?
I actually can't remember.
Right, so what I'm going to do, imagine in the middle you've got a point. Yeah? So imagine you've got a point in the middle, and what you're doing is you're pulling the ink from the outside to the middle. So every time we're coming from the side and pulling it into that point in the middle. This is what gives you the 3D look. Take a little bit more ink, just even that out. And by going over a set line, it will make it darker and fade in. So I'm coming in, same on the other side, from the edge into that point in the middle. Yeah? All the time pulling down towards that middle point. Okay, there we go. Right. So if I just take this away quickly, you can see we've already built our 3D
beautiful
bauble. So just going to put this back on. And I'm just going to go and then nicely smooth it off a little bit, put another coat on and smooth any areas that I wasn't happy with. Next, I want to put a little bit more snow in definition in the bottom. So I'm going to take my finger dauber and I'm going to put it into my ink. So we can get this bit, Uncle Sam, there we go. Yeah. And all I'm going to do is just lightly blob it on. Can you see it gives you that little bit of look as if that's heavier and it's snow. Okay, there we go. So now I've got the snow at the bottom. And then finally, we need to add a little bit more sparkle and glitter. So this is where I'm going to take some of the Ice Ink diamonds and I'm using the white, the nacre. And just take a little bit out. Find the lid from the floor where I dropped it. And a stencil brush. Take some and just stencil over where I've put the snow. Now I've taken a lot off, I can just add a little bit more over to make it look like snow is falling. And if I want to, because this dries really quickly, I can take some more and build up the layer on the bottom of that snow. Perhaps add a little bit into the mountains, but there we go. So that when I take that off, then I've got my sort of 3D looking floating bauble. To finish this off and close my stamp press, what I'm going to do is I need to cut, and I never remember the name of it. I'm sure there is a proper name for it, but it's the little bit at the top. And in my head, I've always called it the bezel or the roundel or something, but I'm sure it's not. So from the bauble die set, you actually get two sizes of top. Let's cut a little bit of card. So there we go. And there's the one I cut earlier.
I'm going to say you did cut one.
And I did cut one earlier. So I've just used this die on a little bit of mirror card. And I've cut it out. And I've just shaped it in my hands a little bit to curl it. Little bit of foam tape behind, but just in the centre, so that the edges will touch.
It's like Blue Peter, you've done it already.
I know. And this goes over where the bauble is. Can you see there then? You've got a 3D hanging bauble. I've also made already, this is going to make everything flash.
Oh, please don't.
A piece of mirror card. Just a card blank setup, and this is a 6.5-inch square.
What glue are you using?
I'm using Craft Artist.
Well done.
Of course, using my Craft Artist glue. There are, guys, some really, that one's empty. Well done, John. This is my new one. There are some absolutely beautiful and amazing products coming in the Craft Artist range in the next 4 weeks. Starting on the 26th of September, there are the glues.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Some was looking at me gone out then.
Yeah.
The glues are coming on the 26th, but on the 7th of October...
Which is John's birthday.
Don't tell people that. Then there is going to be something absolutely amazing and beautiful coming out from the Craft Artist range. I'm really pleased about. Even Sam's impressed.
I've seen it and had a little play when John's not been here, and I was shocked how good it was.
Yeah, it's an amazing product. So there's our bauble on our card. Probably should have put a little bit, there we go, glue on. And I can put a little bow on if I want to, just at the top. So we'll use a little bit of hot glue every time. There we go, a little bit of hot glue. And just pop that at the top. And there's our card. I'm going to hold this one up so we can just stand it up. But there you can see. So that's how we make the 3D bauble without having to have a stencil or anything. If you look carefully, we've got all that beautiful glittering snow at the bottom and slightly sparkly mountains, which have got that little holographic look. So that's that one, guys. Show you both of them. The one that I'd made earlier. And I'll show you what the difference is. So this one is done with white pigment ink, and this is the opaline, or the mother of pearl embossing powder. This one is using the white glitter embossing powder, so we get a lighter look. So you can see that one's glitter, that one's the mother of pearl, and hopefully covers it. Shall I just quickly run through what I've used? Because everyone keeps asking that, and I promised I would. So I've used the John Next Door bauble die set. I've used the 2J's Deer Mountain clear stamp. Look, it's lovely and clean. I've used white Eyes Ink pigment ink. I have used transparent palette, which is the transparent glitter, clear glitter embossing powder from Eyes Ink. And I've used the Eyes Ink Diamonds in Nacre, which is the white, which is the permanent glitter paint and paste all in one. So I think that's everything I used on that one.
There's no links that we put up to shops or anything. We suggest if you just search for 2J's stamps, and you'll find them.
Yeah, just search for the products. The Craft Cave Live is not about selling. We don't do Craft Cave Live to sell anything. We don't sell or retail. We do this to answer questions from people. So, yeah, we don't put links or anything up. It's not paid for. It's not sponsored. You know, no one gives us the stuff and no one pays us to do it. We just do it because we want to help people.
No, if it's a case of we know where there is some in stock and it's a literally out of stock item, we will put the link up then.
Yeah, only we only ever do it if someone's really struggling and to try and help, because that's what we're here for. So that's it. So remember, cut the stencil, and you can use that again and again and again. I mean, it's only a piece of card, but use it again and make as many of those as you want as quickly. And every product in this range, so everything that I've used has full angel policies. John Next Door, designed by me, do what you like with them. The 2J stamps are fully purchased, licensed images. So they've actually purchased the licenses from the artist to use these images, which means, again, full angel policy. You can use them because we've covered that off. And the same with the Eyes Ink. Their attitude is do what you want with it, sell it, charity, make it for home use, anything. So no worries if you're doing any sales on any of those. Okay, next, Uncle Sam.
Yeah?
Yeah, I got a real eye roll then for saying that.
You
right,
didn't.
I did. You know I did. Right, so let's move that out of the way because that's a nightmare. So we were talking about... People asked about cutting a die, embossing a die and things like that. So I thought one of the most flexible ones to do this with...
Charmaine's just put, show me how to use your thingy. I missed it. Charmaine...
You can watch on Rewind, Charmaine.
You can wait.
Yes, I've shown how to use my thingy. So I'm going to use the Woodland Trees because this is one of those dies that you look at and go, oh, does it just do that? And I think this is a great way to show people what else you can do with a die. So I'm going to start with the first one and we're just going to cut it. Just want to go through a couple of basics. So I'm going to put the die on to the card, and I'm using 300 GSM crystal card. This is in the silver. So this is the card set with the mica. And tape your die down. Now, if I run it through that way, the rollers are going to pull down and they're going to skip these lines, and I won't get as good a cut. So always look where the most of your cut lines run and make them run against the grain of your machine, so that when the roller pulls down, it gets a lot longer to cut those than if it just swipes across the top. So I'm just going to cut that, and for speed I'm going to run it through.
If anyone's got any questions, please let us know.
Yeah, please ask, because that's what we're here for. So that's cutting. So I'm just cutting the die to start with. The next one I keep getting asked about by people is about just embossing a die. So we know that we can emboss a die. And all that means when we emboss a die as standard is that we actually put an embossing mat on top, and then we actually push it through with an embossing mat, and it pushes any of the space through any holes. This die doesn't have any, so we won't gain anything by doing that. So I'm going to show you what most people mean when they ask me about embossing a die, which is how to just emboss it. So I'll peel that off, but can you see? Give it a flick. Careful not to get it on the floor because Sam has hoovered the craft cave again.
No, it's fine. You can make it messy.
Oh, thank you. You said that earlier, but I didn't really want to.
You can.
Oh.
And then you can hoover it yourself on the 25th.
I don't know where the hoover is. Why on the 25th?
Because everything would have been done by then.
Oh, yeah, it will be, won't it?
Yes.
Yeah. So, I'm just going to get a few of the bits out. But we just cut a die, and we can see there what we're going to get.
The typography
Yes.
stamps are already available, aren't
they? They are, yes. They're available in... I think they're still on Hochanda, and they're available from all leading craft shops. Is that what people say?
Oh, yeah, that's a good way,
Yeah. I think that was the old TV way of saying it. And available from all leading toy shops or whatever. So just get the last bits out. So we just basically cut the die, and I get all that detail out of it. But what I want to show you next is embossing a die. So what I'm going to do this time is take the die, make sure I've got all the bits out, so very carefully bang it and get all the bits out. And I'm just going to change plates. So I'm going to go for a slightly thinner plate for the embossing. I'm going to take the die, and once again I'm going to tape it onto a piece of card. This time I'm using a piece of craft card, and I'm going to put it upwards. So I've got die, then card on top. Yeah. Then I'm going to take because I found this works so much better for me. This is my Crafts 2 glue heat resistant glue mat, but it works as the most perfect embossing tool or embossing mat. Put my thin plate on top, and I'm just going to run that through the machine. Now the principles of this work because a die cuts by pushing the fibres apart against a hard surface. When I get the die pushing against a soft surface like the mat, it won't cut, but it will push the pattern in. So if we can see here, take the mat off, can you see that it's pushed the pattern in but it hasn't cut? So that when I take this off, you can see then I've just embossed or quilted the die. There we go. So we've got the pattern on there, but we haven't actually embossed it at all. And what I'm going to do is, just to show this and how it works really well, I'm just going to take a couple of colours of my die inks. Where's my walnut gone? No? Okay, we'll go with honey.
Walnut?
Walnut? No. I don't know where it is.
That's cry.
That's cry. That's wax. Cry. It's that's it.
No, that it?
Yeah, walnut. Brou de noir.
Which is walnut.
Yeah. So all I'm going to do is just take a little bit of the ink, and I'm just going to go over the top. Nothing spectacular. Can you see the pattern is coming out now? You're getting that winter tree look. I'm then going to go in with a little bit of the honey or the meal. And I'm bringing the honey down across it. You see how it's revealing the image? A little bit more walnut. Let's just make that a little bit darker at the top and blend them together. Then finally I'm going in with tea or tay. Tas, isn't it, in German, I think? My brain flips all over the place.
I don't have a clue.
Yeah. I don't know. Sometimes I don't know how you put up with the way my brain works.
Someone's
Can
got
you
to...
see there? got quite an ethereal, misty looking sort of look. So we've got the trees, but of course it's not cut. And what we can do, if we really want to show that a little bit differently, we can actually drop the die back in to the space it's provided. So we've actually got quite a nice look, but what I like to do is offset it. So we've got that look there of the trees in the distance. Yeah, so that is embossing a die. Lovely background actually, isn't it? That really nice stamped. So we've cut it. We've done just embossing it. Want to show you now another trick.
That would be good for the show in October.
That would be very good for the show in October.
Yes.
Well thought, Sammy.
Yes.
Very good. So, I'm going to show you now something else we can do with a die.
With what's coming out at the end of September.
Oh.
Because of the size of them.
They would, yes, they would work really well. Oh, I know what you mean there. No, they're coming out the end of October, those
are
ones.
they? Oh.
Yeah. But, so what I'm going to do next, guys, is I'm going to make a faux
Hi, Mother.
embossing folder. Hello, Alison. So, we've cut this piece, yeah? What I've done is, I've used Craft Card 300 GSM. This is part of the, should hopefully be out soon. This is going to be part of the John Next Door Essentials card collection, which we're still working on. But this is, I've been testing lots of card for it. This is the craft card, and all I've done, I've cut this die, if you can see it's the die, 4 times. Yeah. So if you can go in, can you actually get, no.
No, can't. Oh,
Oops.
No.
No.
Oh, whoa, it's telling me off.
It's shouting at
You
him.
hold it up.
Yeah.
And let me... There you go.
Can you see?
Yeah.
Hopefully. It's basically 4 layers of cards spray glued and stuck on together. So, I mean, this is really nice and makes a really good depth. But what I want to do is, this is how to make your own faux embossing folder. So I've cut the die 4 times and spray glued it onto another piece of craft card. So what I've got is 3, 6, 9, 12. I've got 1500 GSM's worth of card there, but not there. And all I'm going to do, I'm picking up too much, aren't I? Put this down onto my plate that I'm going to emboss with. I'm going to take a piece of watercolour card and just cut it in half. And I'm going to give it a light spritz with water. Now, just water. I know there's lots of things you can get to help with embossing. Honestly, I've found nothing but water, or maybe water with a little bit of sugar added. Which just helps with the crispness at the end. Works just as well. And this is just literally a cheap spray bottle with council pop, as they used to call it when I was a kid. Tap water. Don't ask me why.
It's not tap water around here, is it? It's water.
It's water. Can I fetch some water for Babby?
Yeah.
That's what we say. So I've just put that on top, yeah? I'm going to put the embossing mat, or the glue mat as it is, on top again. Yeah? And then my plate on. And all I'm going to do is run this through my machine. And I'm going to do another Blue Peter moment in a minute, because I'm going to show you, here's one I made earlier. But I want to show how it actually works. I feel like I should be tap dancing or something on the plate while you're looking at it. And you know, while I'm doing this, guys, Sam has got the pokey tool and he's drawing with it on card. You know,
but
your brain is as weird as mine.
It's scrap card.
Yeah. So let me peel that off. Can you see there? That deep, crisp impression we've got. Like it's gone through an embossing folder, and of course it hasn't. It's gone through that piece of card. You see there, negative and the positive. And all I'm going to do with this is, now that is a little bit damp. It's not freezing, it's not wet, but it's a little bit damp. So I'm just going to take a piece that I made earlier that's dry. Okay. Grab the finger dauber I was using earlier.
You can say poker tool then, might you?
I was going to say poker tool, and that's because you've got a pokey tool in your hand. You've got my little Cross 2 one. I'm just going to go over just so you can see the depth. This would work really well with the 7th of October. I nearly said the name then.
Don't say it.
No, I'm not going to, but I'm only pulling in one direction. Just to, so that I make one side of the trees darker than the other. But there you go, you can see that's like I've got a winter trees or woodland trees embossing folder. Trim it down. On the lines. And there you've got a beautiful embossed panel to go on your card or your project with stamp in front or whatever you want to do. And it takes probably, what would you say to dry? I mean, that's nearly dry, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so about 5 minutes, if that.
do it
Put a
fast.
heat gun on it if you really want to get it dry, but we're not soaking the paper. It's only slightly damp. So that is making it into an embossing folder. The final one I'm going to do, which I know people have seen before, but I want to go through all the different things we can do with one die, is I'm just going to make a stamp. So, here I've got a piece of funky foam. This is cheap as chips, pound shop funky foam. Nice and thick, yeah. You don't want to use it wasting your flour foam or anything on this. Pop the die on, onto my cutting plate, and I'm just going to cut this. So I'm just going to run this through my machine, and while I'm running that through, I'm just going to grab a little bit of black card because I love the effect on black. So I've got some black card here. I've also got one of my old acrylic blocks, and from doing so many workshops, and before I had the stamp press, I've got tons of these acrylic blocks. I'm sure a lot of people have, and if you're anything like me, I use little ones still to do stamping within my stamp press, but I don't use these big ones anymore. So all I'm going to do is take out my cut image, and the funky foam you'll see cuts beautifully. Just give it a flick.
Not at me, or on me.
Well, you're used to that by now.
Yeah.
I'm just going to trim it out of the foam. Okay. Grab my pokey tool, grab another one. Good job these come in twin packs, isn't it? Oh, thank you. And just get the little bits out. Always exciting to watch. Have we had any questions, Uncle Sam?
I honestly don't know.
No, has anyone got a question at all quickly while I'm doing this boring bit? Or anything you want to know? Anyone got any gossip? That's always interesting. Who's got gossip? No?
No.
No? Terrible.
No.
So just get the little bits
Fingers
out.
there's always a bit of delay.
There is, unfortunately. So while I'm getting these bits out, there we go. You may find they're a little bit staticky because you're cutting a foam. You see there, I've got all the detail and everything out. But the fantastic thing about cutting funky foam is you don't get a leading edge. On paper, you get what I call a leading edge, where the card is bent round, so you can tell which is the front side and which is the back of a die cut. If I take this, you can see what I mean. See how that's curled nicely? The other side, look, it's raw. That looks very different than that side.
Yeah.
On funky foam, it doesn't. Doesn't make a difference which side you use.
Just a bit.
So, what you can actually do is, you can use this either way. So, all I'm going to do is bring in my spray box and my spray glue, and to save us both some time at the end of the show, or afterwards, I use Craft Mount by 3M, because everyone keeps asking that. It's the only one I found works.
Craft mount is
Permanent, yeah.
yeah.
Spray mount is temporary. Craft mount is permanent.
There we go.
Got an acrylic block, got a gluey piece of foam, stick gluey piece of foam to block, and then I just want to take off the top and the bottom because I don't want those to stamp. So I take a rule, put that against that line, actually put it against that line there, cut off, yeah, against that line there, pull my knife along. You can use scissors, peel that off, but I find that a lot easier. And then I've got a stand of trees. All I then need to do, I'm using pigment ink. We found another little bit, yay. So I'm just going to ink my stamp like I would do normally. And I'm sure I've done this before on a Craft Cave Live, but I like to show things. I can't remember, I thought we had, but I think it's worth showing everything we can do.
I think you did live on air.
Did I? I know I've done it on shows.
You did live on air, but didn't do it.
All I'm going to do is then stamp. Don't have to worry about a hard surface because my stamp's made of foam. Yeah. There's my winter trees. I'm going to give it another stamp there. I'm not re-inking. Yeah. And then I'm just going to lightly go in between.
How long will it last, as in the stamp that you've made?
Do you know, I don't know. I found one the other day. I first did this technique. I'm sure it's old, but I went into, when I was on Create and Craft.
Oh God, that's years ago.
Yeah. I went into a shop and they got some foam stamps made of funky foam, and I thought, wonder if dyes would do that. So I did it, and I did it on a show there. So I've been doing it for about 6 years. I did find, when we moved house, the original stamp I'd done with a Couture Creations dye, and it was still okay then. Because I'm too lazy to peel them back off the blocks. So, to be honest with you, it's not really perishable, the foam. So I would imagine lasts a long time. They're not as easy to clean or anything, but then since I clean nothing, it doesn't matter.
If you don't clean it, then you're not getting water or
you're not getting water
to it.
Yeah.
You're just getting the dye.
So there I've got then a stand of first, second and third generation trees. So what we've done is we've got a stamped background with them. We've got a die cut background with them. We've got an embossed background with the die. We've got an embossed background with making our own embossing folder. All with the same die, and of course we could even use that one. So I just wanted to go through that and show you, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ways that you can use one die and what else we can do with it. Okay? The only last thing that we've got left to do, which is the 5th, I think, is to stencil. And what I do if I want to stencil, I'm going to use the die cut as it stands, all cleaned out. I'm going to give this a light spray. And when I say a light spray, I mean, that's it. A real sort of woman in a...
That was very...
It was very...
Very
that was my woman in
pizzazz.
Debenhams.
Oh,
Would you like to try some perfume? Would you like to try some perfume? The ones that try and take your eye out by spraying Cacharel in your eye every time you walk
get them
in.
anymore. You only get them at airports these
Do you?
days. Yeah.
But
And I just go, no.
yeah, but you
I know what I want.
You have an ability. You know what you want in aftershave and
Yeah.
not perfume, in aftershave, and and you know exactly how to cut them off, don't you? Whereas I'm the one who gets trapped
Yeah, and I'm
for
like,
20 minutes on a
bye.
sales pitch. So I've just put it down, but because I lightly sprayed it, it's going to come back off. You can use a repositionable one, but I'm too cheap to buy a repositionable one as well as that. No point. Blah, 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 blah. But all I'm going to do then is just use the white and colour over the top really lightly. Nothing posh, nothing special. And again, this would really work with a 7th, wouldn't it?
Oh, there's lots of ideas going
There
through
is
our
lots
heads
of
for the 7th.
ideas.
We're really sorry we can't tell you what yet.
No, I know, I really wish I could. But if anyone knows a DPD driver, there's a DPD driver arriving on Monday with it. So no, probably not a good idea. Going lightly over, I'm just going to add a little bit more in a couple of places, yeah? And then I'm going to take some more, and again, like I did before, I'm putting it heavier on the bottom. Just there, like that. Okay. So I like that as a background, but when we peel that off...
Ooh, that's pretty.
Yeah?
I was
We've got a
thinking,
real atmospheric...
if you did it on white card, and
Yeah.
you could do like a sunset,
You could.
and you could have green at the bottom for like grass.
Yes. Nice idea, Sam. But really simple, quick, and ethereal looking background. And it's so easy, but of course, it's just using the die cut. And the die cut is still perfectly usable for something else. You can do is offset it slightly and just lightly almost dance over the top of it, just to give an impression of a few more trees in the background, a little bit of shading, so it doesn't look quite so harsh black on white. I'm just in the front.
You know what I'm surprised with?
What?
That Jodie Johnson hasn't asked to be in the video this time.
She hasn't. Jodie, honestly.
Honestly.
You'd be more than welcome to join us.
You live 10 minutes away as well.
So we just carry that design on. There we go. Just doing the little pouncing technique. There we go. And there we go. So, to sum up on that one, I've used the Woodland tree dies from the John Next Door collection. I think it's called that. I never remember what they're called. White Eyes Ink pigment ink, black essential card, white crystal card, craft essential card, and some shades tea, walnut and honey of the Eyes Ink and a finger dauber. And I think that's everything we've used.
Correct.
Yeah, so is there anything to go through? Oh, giveaway.
Oh, no.
You wanted to do a giveaway,
Oh,
didn't
no,
you?
I forgot.
Yeah. So,
I'm going to have to go through the comments and find someone now, aren't I?
yeah, so what we said, did you actually put the
No,
giveaway
I never
out?
did, no.
Well, should we explain first what we said we'd do?
Yeah.
We actually said we would give away. I've got a second copy of Die Cutting Essentials this month because I'm a subscriber and because I'm in it this month. They sent me a free copy. I've got to say, it's the first time they've ever sent me one that I'm in without I've not had to buy one. So in here there is a feature from myself. There is the free die that they always include, and there's also details in there about I'm doing my first ever box kit, which is on next Thursday.
Yes, the 19th.
The 19th.
At what times? I don't know what times yet.
11 and 3.
There you go.
Yeah. So Sam said he'd pick one name at random to win this. So who's the winner, Sam?
It's not Charmaine.
No.
I'm literally scrolling through the comments and just picking one person.
I'm actually watching. He's just randomly doing it. Put your finger on. Who are we going with?
I'm going to go with this person there.
So who's that?
That is Angie Hall.
Angie Hall.
Yes.
I know Angie.
Oh, do you?
Yes.
I don't.
I do. Hello, Angie. You don't know. You wouldn't. She's from Coventry and Nuneaton. Well done, Angie. Send us, PM me or Sam your address, and we'll send you this out free on us. So I hate to keep things when I've got two and everything like that. So send us your address and we'll post that out for you on Monday. I'm not going to say tomorrow because it's Saturday. It is Saturday tomorrow. It's Friday. You're thinking it's Wednesday, aren't you? I was. So I think that's everything for tonight, guys, unless there's any more last minute questions. Shocked me. Just to update you, I had a brilliant time in Dis this week, which is why this isn't Wednesday night. It was tonight on Friday night. Tomorrow I'm at Samuel Taylor's in Brighouse near Leeds. Doing workshops, but if you're around, pop in and say hello. I'll always come and talk to people. Well, I never stop talking, do I, to be quite honest. No. So, pop in and say hello. Craft Cave Live next week.
Isn't a normal Craft Cave
Isn't a normal Craft Cave Live. It is on Wednesday night, which will be the 18th at 7 o'clock. If you have got any questions that can be answered rather than demoed, please ask the questions, but we keep a list to try and keep up to date for the next ones, because Wednesdays will be all about the brand new, I'm really pleased about this, box kit, excuse me.
I thought you were going to cry.
No, I was trying not to burp, to be honest. Now everyone knows. Too much fizzy pop. I was swallowing that. Will be about the brand new box kit, which we've done with Practical Publishing. I've drawn everything in there, so it's not like off-the-shelf designs or anything. You've got stamps, dies, embossing folder, papers, everything in the kit. And there's a special offer on Hochanda. There's going to be an exclusive John Next Door die, which is one we haven't released yet from the Christmas collection. We've held just one of them back. And there's actually one around somewhere, isn't there? I've just realised there's a card up with it on.
Oh, no, not looking. I'm not looking.
But yeah, there's so one of the John Next Door dies will be exclusive with the box kit from Hachanda. But next Wednesday, any questions, and we'll take you through the box kit. And excited for the launch on 11 o'clock on Thursday, which is the 19th. I think that's it for tonight, is it?
Correct.
Gone through everything I've used. So.